Why does every generation seem more broken than the last one? More anxious, more confused, more isolated, more addicted, less able to form stable relationships, less able to build anything that lasts, less able to raise healthy children. And you've been told that it's technology, technological advancements, or politics, or economic pressure, or cultural shifts, social media. Now, these are all the symptoms, but these are not the source. The source is actually very simple, much simpler than many people realize. And the source is that the family is crumbling under the weight of coordinated and consistent assault ramping up across generations. And every upheaval, all the chaos you see happening in society today stems from that single line of thought, from that breakdown, the breakdown in the family. And in this video, I will tell you what the family was designed to do, why it became a target because of what it was designed to do, and the specific weapons used to attack and destroy the family. The next videos we go into each specific weapon in detail so that you can recognize them, stop them, and prevent them from being transferred to the next generation. Now, the family is not human invention. No, humans did not invent the family. It's a divine institution. God designed the family and established it as the protected environment where every new human being receives identity, values, formation, and a correct model of society and reality. Every person who has ever lived entered this world through a family, and whatever they met in that family shaped them at such a level that almost nothing else can reach with such depth and permanence. Whether safety or danger, love or cruelty, presence or abandonment, truth or confusion or lies, all these are the formative architecture that builds the child. The book of Proverbs chapter 22 describes a mechanism. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and then when he is old, he will not depart from it. It shows you that formation occurs early and it enters to a depth that later experience rarely reaches, and it tends to stay. When the family functions as it was designed to, it transfers godly values, identity, economic foundations, social stability, and a correct biblical model of society and reality from one generation to the next. The child starts ahead of their parents because they inherit what their parents have already built, and this inheritance compounds across multiple generations. That is massive leverage, a self-perpetuating environment, a self-perpetuating system. Hillel unfortunately understands this more than most of the church, which is why the most sophisticated and sustained attacks have been targeted at the family. And the goal is simple: break the family before it forms, or break it while it's forming. Either way, the result is the same: broken people who form broken families, which produces more broken people, generation after generation, compounding damage instead of compounding strength and life. And the weapons are specific and coordinated. They might look random, but they are not. They are not random. Some of the weapons are rejection, either before birth or after birth. Another weapon is abandonment. The person whose parent left or whose parents stayed but was never really present learns that people who are supposed to stay don't, and those who stay don't really want them, and that becomes their model for every relationship that follows. Another one is physical abuse, when pain is inflicted on you by the same people that are supposed to protect you, and so your body and soul learns that harm comes from intimacy, that safety doesn't exist, that authority is violent, and you carry that wiring into adulthood and into a new family. And another terrible one is sexual abuse, when boundaries are violated before the person even has a name or an understanding of what was done to them. Such person's understanding of intimacy, of love, of their own body, of trust is broken and corrupted at the roots, and that corruption just keeps spreading. And another one is digital abuse, when inappropriate materials are pushed into the hands of people at a young age, and violence and ideologies and propaganda are repackaged as entertainment. The person's mind gets trained on materials that are meant to cause addictions, to hook them in, to distort and normalize the abnormal and the unthinkable. And once that training takes hold, it doesn't let go easily. Then there is verbal abuse, words that tear down your identity, words that are meant to hurt, that reach for your insecurities, like you're worthless, you are nobody, you will never amount to anything, words like this. You're just like your father, or you're just like your mother. And when the person hears this over and over again, it becomes a constant voice in their head, a voice that they will fight for the rest of their lives, a battle that they never needed to fight in the first place. And then emotional abuse, control, manipulation, conditioning, learning that love is performative and you need to perform to receive love as a reward. These people never know what it actually means to be loved, and they spend the rest of their lives performing. Then there is peer abuse, when it comes from people of the same age like you, no adults involved. Early exposure to materials that you were never supposed to see and to behavior that you were never supposed to know about. It most often gets normalized and pushed aside, but it affects the person anyway, even right now. Then there is abortion, the ultimate rejection. A person who never made it out of the womb because they were seen as inconvenient. All these are not isolated incidents. They are not random. They are a coordinated system that is targeted at the family and targeted at the individuals to break them before they can even form a stable family, so that whatever family they form is broken and disadvantaged at the start. Some target the parents, others target the children. But we explore this more in later videos. But the result is the same. A broken family system that raises broken children who go on to form more broken families, and these people create a broken society. And because it compounds across generations, one incident in 1985 is still generating returns today because no one identified it, no one stopped it, and no one prevented it from being transferred to another generation. Or it was identified, but the right way to stop it was not known. And that is what we are talking about in this series. I hope you will stick around. Now, everybody watching this came from a family, and that family either gave you advantages or disadvantages, and most times it's a combination of both. The question is not whether your family shaped you. It did. The question is whether you understand how, and whether you will transmit that damage forward without ever making a conscious decision to do so. Because without deliberate intervention, the default is transmission. Trauma will pass to the next generation. Brokenness will pass to the next generation. Patterns you never consciously chose will get lived out with consistency because you absorbed those things before you ever had the capacity to question them. And understanding the mechanism is the first step to stopping it. The good news is that there is someone who can heal whatever is broken. And that's the point of me starting this channel. Many are broken and they need healing, but what they are doing is not working. And some are getting frustrated and tired. And since I have seen results from working with Holy Spirit, I need to share that with someone who needs it. It works, and I am a practical example that it does. Now, if you already know that your family of origin imposed disadvantages on you, stay with this. There are solutions, I guarantee, solutions that work. And if you're convinced that your family was totally fine, stay anyway. The patterns that do the most damage are the ones you are most certain that you don't have. If you have any questions, you can leave them in comments. Subscribe if you intend to follow this through. We have a lot to talk about. Next episode, how your marriage was sabotaged before you and your husband or wife ever stood at the altar to take your vows. And I'll see you there.